I was interested in that. You obviously, as we've talked about, have a lot on your plate. I mean, you do run a whole college, which is pretty important. Um, but at the same time, you set out time for you to be able to do the endurance training and all of that stuff. What is the importance of your physical health to you?
I'm really glad you asked that question because it's, no matter how important what we think we're doing is, we always have to find time to take care of ourselves. And when I run into students who are, in every club and, on the honor roll and doing research projects, I always say, are you taking care of yourself? Are you finding time to sleep? Are you finding time for exercise? Are you eating right? It's really important. There's nothing more important than that. So I do try to. I don't always succeed, but I do try once a day to swim, bike, or run. And sometimes it's, less time that I want, or it's on the bike trainer in the basement, but it's really important, and it helps me I hope be better when I get back to my desk. So it's I just encourage everyone to never feel like you're too busy to take care of yourself.
I did want to go more into just kind of hammer down on your relationship with athletics. When you got here, what one of your mission statements was increasing diversity at the school, and the job's not done until the school statistics match kind of the nationwide stuff. Maybe talk about the importance of diversity with athletics here, because I found that really interesting in your own mission statement and how it applies to maybe, let's say, athletics.
It's a fascinating question, one that we can spend a lot of time talking about. And I like the way you phrase it. It's very similar to the way that I try to put it. Until our student body matches the demographics of the country as a whole, we haven't done our job yet, and we're not there yet. As we become focused on appealing to non-traditional students, first-generation students, students of color, and so forth, we've made some progress over time, but we've got much further to go. Athletics is interesting because since sports have become so specialized, they become very expensive. And to become D1 caliber, as I mentioned before, my own son, skating at the age of 3.
Hockey's like one of the most expensive sports.
Yeah, they're expensive. It's a lot of time, and so it ends up correlating with forms of privilege, which are really challenging. Now, by the time our coaches are recruiting the next class of student athletes, they're working with the talent that exists nationwide. So we really need to focus on more junior levels, youth sports, and making youth sports more accessible and more achievable for a wider audience. Because how many talented athletes would be fantastic at hockey if only they had the opportunity that my son and others had.
Yeah, that's a great point. And because it's actually a very common topic we talk about in our classes here as far as for sports communication, accessibility, because it just happens to be equipment, where you're born, just region in general. I really like how you put that. It's not necessarily even a college issue. It's maybe the issue before. But I think another thing I want to talk about, other than like attendance, let's say, what would you say is your favorite part about the athletics here at Marist specifically, versus maybe other colleges you've been to, you've worked at, you've got, studied at?
Yeah, so one of the differences here, of course, versus say in Notre Dame or in North Carolina is that the Power Five conferences. I mean, the caliber is they're in essence they're professional caliber athletes, and with some of the changes in the NCAA, they actually are professional athletes in terms of how they can monetize their success here. And we're D1, but we're at a different part of the D1 curve. So what I love about that is our student athletes are student athletes.
Yeah.
Here, that they come here and they understand that this is a 4-year degree during which they'll have a chance to play a sport that they love and that they're very good at. Their motives are different than, say, somebody who's using college as a stepping stone to become a professional athlete. Now, we've had a few professional athletes ourselves, of course, in Jason Myers and Terrence Fidey and some others.
Still kicking it.
Yeah, so we can succeed at that level as well, but it's not the main reason why our student athletes are here. When I get together, as we meet frequently, the other presidents of the MAC institutions, we all share that in common, that we want to be focused on the student first, the athlete second, and have a balance, and avoid some of the challenges that come with a almost professionalized college athletic model.
So I think it's really a slam dunk for a team like Marist to play an ACC team in the non-conference. Like it's not going to hurt them. They're going to and it just it makes sense.
There's an opportunity.
For fans like or just students at Marist, I don't think most of them really understand that though. Like they see the overall record and they're all turned off by it because it's usually not very good because they're playing better teams. But the overall record is not what matters, and I think more people need to realize that. It's the MAC tournament that they're trying to play for, and the non-conference games they play before MAC starts is preparing them to be successful in the MAC, and I don't think that there's a lot of people that understand that.
Yeah, it's a good point, right? When you go, if you go 2-8 non-conference, there may be a sense that hey, this team isn't where it needs to be, and then you have a nice run in your conference because you're playing like size competition. I mean, different coaches have different philosophies on how to use the non-conference schedule. This is not my area to meddle in. This is for the athletic directors and the coaches, athletic director and the coaches to talk about. And some coaches want the toughest talent they can play against and get their teams ready that way. Others want to build a little more confidence and through a schedule that might not be as challenging. I am glad they were receptive to a game at Notre Dame, and that Notre Dame was receptive to us, because I think it is an opportunity. It presents an opportunity right now. Whether Notre Dame is where they've been in the past or not, it's an opportunity to get a big win and to have exposure at another level.